He's set at $400 a month for the car. Okay. What is he set at after the car? Because is he set at the $4,000 repair bill, or should we just transfer that risk to someone else? And now your payment instead of $400 is $423. Yes. Would you like that? Because in 3 years, you don't know what the car is going to break. Otherwise than that, here's your car as is, buyer's guide, sign that. If it breaks in half, you own both pieces. I don't like that. Yeah. So these guys don't. It's interesting that people don't ask. They don't offer.
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of The Drive. I am here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it is hot. I have an amazing guest with me today. I have the one, the only, the oh so famous, at least that's what I've been told, Micah with Autto. That is... Did you like that one?
I loved it. And personally, I was like, you have a great podcast voice. It's like it changed. Yeah.
I get right into it, man. I get right into it. Okay. So I have Micah with Autto. That is spelled A-U-T-T-O. Micah, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
Thanks for coming to take a drive.
It's tiring when it's this hot, man. It drives you like, it's crazy.
Yeah, but we're all car guys. Once we kind of get, knotted up a little bit, we'll go. We just gotta get going, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, man, I've been looking forward to this podcast. I'm excited to get into your keynote. You got some really cool topics, and it's going to be fun to jam about. But hey, I like to kick off these podcasts with a little origin story, because I'm always funnily fascinated, right? So let's start there. How did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Just like we had talked about earlier, it's like you kind of fall into it, and it's kind of weird. Well, long story short, I actually went to the Naval Academy. Okay. So when I was 18, when you go to the Naval Academy, it was like you graduate high school, and like 2 weeks later, you have to go off to, in a sense, boot camp. They call it plebe summer. So I go there, and it was for more or less, it was for soccer. I got recruited by soccer from the soccer coach. That's Anyways, cool. I come about 2 weeks into the plebe summer. You can call me a major failure, because I'm like, I am not doing this. It gives you so much more respect for those guys that are there. But I'm like, maybe a lot of your listeners are like this. I hate being told what to do. So, and you can't hate that when you're at the Naval Academy. Anyway, so I left there, ended up still having a soccer scholarship to another college, then came back for Christmas break, then decided, okay, maybe college isn't just for me. So long story short, I was the ultimate failure to my parents. Like, here's a guy that like went to school, a great school or whatever, and I'm like, I'm a college dropout now, so I'm not going to do this. So I ultimately had no chance of failure, I guess, because like, what do you look for?
Yeah.
Anyway, I was big into airplanes.
Okay.
And I know I love talking to people, so I wanted to sell airplanes. That was kind of what went through my brain. So I go to this airplane brokerage firm. They're like, you need to learn how to sell. You don't know the basics of it. They hooked me up at a big dealership in Utah where I'm at. Go there, and about 3 months in, I kind of get the training, go through everything, and I'm like, gosh, I feel like I could do this so much better. And again, they were telling me what to do. So then I left that, and when I was 19, started my own dealership.
Nice.
And keep in mind, I had literally zero money. And when I say zero money, like if you've ever seen the negative balance in your account, and to the fact of it's like, how are they still paying things like you only because your friend is a banker or something like that, where there's negative $13 or $20 in there. And somehow or another, I just applied for a credit card. I have $5,000 line on a credit card. So I take a cash in advance from it, go to another friend and worked under his license. And I'm like, just let me buy a car. I bought a Honda Accord, sold it.
Yep.
Took those profits, bought 2 Honda Accords, sold them, and then it just kind of built from there.
Yeah.
And again, my mentality was I don't have a plan B. Okay.
So this is it.
I'm in it. And I'm a firm believer that if you have a plan B, you really don't have a plan A. So what do you have to lose when you're 19 living with your parents eating Cheetos in the basement.
There you go.
So you're like,
I'm going to sell cars.
Yeah, I want to sell cars.
I'm going to sell cars. That's
And the only reason I wanted to sell cars, I'm like, there's immediate money. Okay, there's immediate money. I guess I could go, be a janitor somewhere and work for $8 an hour, working 40 hours a week, and that's fine. Or I can sell cars and try and make $1,000 on this. Anyways,
I'm glad you got bit by the bug, man. Because that's normally what happens, right?
I learned the hard way is the thing.
But once you're in, you're in.
Once you're in, you're
like good luck trying to get it out of your blood.
You can't get it out of your blood.
No, it's like a stain that never goes away.
And it's the game that I love to play.
It's so much fun. This industry is an amazing industry, and I think one of the coolest parts about it is that it doesn't matter what walk of life you had, if you're eating Cheetos in your parents' basement, right, or you got an MBA, or you were dealing weed. Everyone comes into the automotive industry from so many different walks of life, and as long as you're willing to just put the work in and hustle, you can get massively reward for it. And it's one of those few verticals that still exist that is just the case. You are rewarded by the hustle and the time and the passion that you put into it. It's really cool. But yeah, man, once you're in, you're in.
So once you're in, you're in. And so for me, it was basically, I had to sit there and I don't know, you have to go with plan A no matter what. And then it just kept building from there. Yeah. And then it was just more or less, I didn't have a lot of bills. When you're 19, you don't think about your kids or anything else. And so I was fortunate. I will say that, like, when you get into it and you have a family and you have to have a solidarity of what you're doing, it does make it harder. But it also puts, a degree of pressure on you where I have to be successful at this. Fortunately for me, I didn't have that, and I knew that. So it was just, okay, keep going. So I was able to buy a house when I was 21. And then when I was, as time went along, it just got to the point of, okay, I'm going to have now 15 cars on my lot. And then now I'm going to have 20 cars on my lot. And because of, in general, it was just kind of a buildup. Came from a very modest background. My mom was a teacher. It was nothing like, I never got the family money. So anyways, as time went along back in 2017, had about 200 cars on my lot, and I had 2 locations, and we kept selling warranties and selling back end products, which is, now what I do. And what frustrated me so much, and it kept happening, was we would sell a service contract, car breaks, guess who gets the phone call of the angry customer?
Dealer, always.
Yeah. So it's, as if we were the one that took the phone call and said, no, you're not covered.
Was that kind of the aha moment for you? I feel like everybody that...
It was really actually right after that. Because what happened is customer calls me up, says, hey, they're not covering my engine on this. And it was something on a diesel truck. I can't even remember the exact component. But he was saying it was denied because of aftermarket components. So, yes. So anyways, I basically said, okay, let me see the report. Why are they saying it's aftermarket parts?
Yeah.
And on the aftermarket parts, I'm like, we have all the pictures previously on when we sold the car. So we knew we didn't do anything. Nothing was on there. And so I kept asking the customer, did you chip it? Did you, do an exhaust? Did you do something? Sure. Right? And then I asked for the report from the service contract company. They send it back to me. And then you see everything. And I'm like, where is the aftermarket part? And then at the bottom of the report said, warranty decline or service contract declined, K&N air filter. They literally declined a $5,000 claim because the guy put an updated air filter on the engine, and I was beside myself. So then,
so like, yeah, there has to be a better solution at that point, right?
Well, I kind of think financially too. Okay, are they losing money on me? Are they gaining money on me? Or am I, what's happening here? And we were selling roughly, I don't know, 50, 60 contracts a month.
Well, and you want to have a good solid warranty partner, for that. You, again, to your point, you're putting your brand out there. I'm selling the product, yes, but it's my brand that is going out there on the bill of sale. All right, I'm the one that's ultimately responsible for that. And if you don't have a good partner that's not working with you, I mean, it's 100%.
Well, every finance
experience.
manager, every general manager, sales manager that you have listening to this, they're all gonna understand. It's like I sold someone else's product and they're yelling at me. And so it's like, wait, okay. But at the same time, I was like, okay, so I get the report. I kind of yell at the warranty company.
Of course,
they won't cover it. So now I have to pay for the customer's vehicle to be repaired because, one, I don't want a bad Google review. I want a good one. I want the customer to come back and buy another one from me. And he was a super cool guy. We ended up covering it. I paid out $5,000 from my own pocket, even though we had already paid for that service contract.
Yes.
And so he got taken care of. But then I'm looking at it going, okay, why am I paying extra? I already paid for this product, right? So we do the financials, and I just looked at it, and I asked the service contract company, I'm like, send me back how much you've actually paid. Because at this point, I'm like, do you guys pay anything? This is crazy.
Well, and unfortunately, there is, let's call it some snake oil, but I think there's definitely some companies out there that really do partner up with their dealers. And then there are some that, there is still definitely some snake oil.
Being in this industry, I will tell you right now, there are a lot of good companies.
Yes.
And then there are a lot of bad ones.
There are. So actually, I love finding rabbit holes, by the way. So this is a rabbit hole, I think for anybody out there watching, listening right now, and they may be questioning their current warranty partner. What would you say would be the top 3 things that a dealership should be looking for in a good warranty partner?
Okay. That's a great question. The first thing, and this sounds really weird, find a company with empathy.
Okay. All right.
The reason why I say that is if you have a company that maybe is so massive that the people in Indonesia are taking the phone calls and only reading the script of the terms and conditions on the service contract, you have the wrong company.
Sure.
Because the empathetic part of that company directly represents you as the person selling it.
Yes, 100%.
And so if you don't have, and I hate to say like big companies, because I know a couple are very good, but if you don't have, like you said, a direct partnership, then
it's not just a product.
It's not just a product. And I would say that a lot of dealers don't understand this. The person's pitching you that product, if they can also pitch you 4 to 5 more other companies, they don't work directly for that company.
True, and that happens a lot right now.
They are an agent. And not to say agents are bad, a lot of them are good, but they don't have the ability to actually understand what your customer is going through. The only thing that they really can do, they can talk to your customer, but they don't have the authority to be able to push a valid claim through. They don't. So
one, empathy.
Yeah. The second thing that I would say within it is don't just price point. Okay. So the quality of any kind of contract or any product in general, we always like to see, I would say focus on the value, not the price. So the value itself is obviously what is it being covered? Because keep in mind, a lot of these service contract companies, they're going to use those fine lines and the red line, the red tape in between all of them to not have to pay. They're in the warranty, not paying business. They don't make money if they pay out.
That's right.
Okay. So
they're not a warranty partner. They're a product company.
So second thing I would say is search for value, not price. Okay.
Give me an example real quick, because I think that's actually a really important perspective.
Okay. So we've all heard of bumper to bumper coverage. There's no such thing. Just telling you right now. Exclusionary coverage. Okay. What is the aggregates that a lot of people don't quite understand? Okay. So a lot of companies will take, okay, well, we will pay out up to $5,000 aggregate on these things. If you're selling a newer car and you want to, like at my company, we sell like a platinum package, which is exclusionary. Exclusionary is basically only these little couple things are not covered. Everything else is.
Yes. Okay.
Look at that and also go, companies can sit there and tell you that things are exclusionary. They're exclusionary. They're going to cover that part, but they're going to say, okay, we're only going to pay $1,500 for this engine for a customer. And it's like the customer's now left with $5,000 out of their pocket. How great is that coverage? So look at the value, especially itself. And then I would would directly say, for any other service contract company in general, look for a participation. And so what I mean by that is, especially for larger dealerships, but really if you're a dealership that is selling more than 10 service contracts a month, participate in the profit. Meaning like, people have heard of reinsurance or dealer obligor or DOWC, and all great concepts. But what they don't think about is some of the other products that you can also participate in, whether it be like even ancillaries such as key replacement, tire and wheel, dent and ding, everything. They always send off those profit margins to somewhere else. And like, I have the statistics now of what is actually what they call a loss ratio, which is,
and if you see how those loss ratios are, 100% you want to participate in those.
Yeah, it's so, and whenever anyone participates, whenever you actually, in a sense, own something on yourself, it's going to perform better. Like if you just,
well, that's a true partnership. I mean, isn't it right? Like,
that's a true
we're participating in this together.
That's exactly my point. So I would just say, really.
And I like this. I really do. And I think anybody out there watching and listening, I think what Micah's kind of identified here are three really, really, really important things. And I think anybody can stress test, these three things that you brought up, the empathy, the value, and the participation of that. And, if you're out there watching, listening to this right now, if you're not getting those three or only get one of those three, there are options. There
are definitely a lot of options, but at the same time, you want to, don't just fall for the same lines or, the same agent.
It's not always about price. Okay.
No, it's not. And okay, so like going back to the participation part, and my example of why I kind of started this company was basically, okay, I had $52,000 paid out in claims because I got the report. Yeah. I had paid them $600,000 in 12 months. And they're denying a $5,000 claim for a K&N filter. And I'm like, what in the hell is going wrong?
Definitely need to go find a new partner.
And I'm in the wrong damn business. This is crazy. So I that's where I went into it. And then I kind of looked into reinsurance. I looked into all of that kind of, and then actually, I was just like, you know what? No one's really treating the customers how I would want them to be treated. No one is actually showing the dealer that they can be the hero in this.
Yes. Well, and I think it's all about the way it's being presented, right? Like if we're presenting it as a product, you're not. That doesn't actually enhance the overall experience. Right?
Well, if you're a partner with someone, you're never throwing your other partner under the bus.
That's true.
And so if I'm a partner with a service contract company, I never want them blaming it on me. I want them going, hey, the dealer's stepping up and helping you here. I want my dealership to be actually exposed as the good guy, not the bad guy in this. And I want the claims paid. I want the customers taken care of. So that's where kind of this.
Well, and you have to take a very kind of a holistic approach when you're, to the product, right? It's like, if this is, if it's the last kick at the can in your sales process, then really you're not being customer centric to the presentation of it. This is a complete solution. And I don't know, in my opinion, should be a part of the complete solution from the very beginning. It shouldn't necessarily be an add-on, but I'd love to get your take on it.
Yeah, I think part of the things that I'm speaking about tomorrow, and it's nothing that your listeners are actually surprised by, is how our front end profits are absolutely shrinking.
Yes.
And it is like, it's almost mind-boggling to a degree of how different the car business is now versus even what it was 5 and 10 and 15 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And so we can't just keep selling cars for less front end profit. Like, people go out of business for that.
I've always said, I don't know if it's always fair for us to look at it from a front end to the back end. I actually, maybe when I was dealer principal, I'm a little bit of the weird cat, right? Because I don't see a difference between front and back. In fact, actually, when we did look at it from a front and back, what usually ended up happening is the departments were actually against each other, right? Because, the back has to maintain this, the front must maintain this, but really at the end of the day, that customer is the entire dealership's customer. Mm-hmm. Why can't we now look at the profitability from a holistic approach as well?
Well, and you're absolutely right. And the problem that we all seem to run into is aging units. And so So when you're running into an aging unit, what do? You automatically drop the front end profit because we're all like looking for that. See, look, he almost got into a wreck. It's not just me. You automatically run into the fact of, well, my advertised vehicle now doesn't have that green check mark on Auto Trader that says great deal, and so I have to get there, and so your front end just shrinks.
You steal from Paul to pay Peter, right? You steal.
And then we get into all of this crap with, okay, and it's not crap because my dealership uses vAuto, uses all of the analytical tools that we can. Yep. The problem with that is that the more information a customer has, and even the more information that you have, it's weird. Your profit margin on the front end actually shrinks. It's really weird. But what's the one thing that's never going to be advertised on Auto Trader? And it's the service contract cost,
which I think is ridiculous. You know, and I do blame a little bit for them because they're only focused, again, just on the one thing. But a purchase of a vehicle needs to be a complete solution, right? There doesn't need to be one part and then add another part and add another part. You know, I don't buy a car with 3 wheels.
No, but also like the other part that's weird is that, okay, when your wholesaler is buying those cars, what's the statistics that he has of what the potential back end profit is?
Good point, right? Like, what's the data that they're working off of?
Yeah, because the only data that they have is market day supply. You know, what's the actual? How am I going to get to 95% of market? And you know, that's the Daves. Yes. But the problem is like, okay, you're focused on the part now that all of us are struggling with, that has the least amount of profit.
Exactly.
You know, so why not focus on the thing that actually gives you the most amount of profit? Because no matter what, when you're selling a service contract, ancillaries, gap, whatever you want to, you know, you have a captive audience. You have not paid a dime for that service contract until you make money. It's the most brilliant business idea ever. You have a zero overhead on this product that makes you the most amount of money. So why are you focused on the market day supply on the smallest front end profit you have?
And we will literally take that and attach it to the very last process we have in the entire sales process. Exactly. Right? Yeah. I want to get a little bit into the presentation tomorrow because I'm kind of excited at some of the topics you're going to be bringing up. What would be maybe 2 or 3 like key takeaways for the people out there that are not attending, but people watching and listening now?
Okay, so we talked about like, don't make it snake oil. Okay, I totally agree with you. But what I am saying is our statistics is really interesting. Okay, so this is crazy. Independent dealers on penetration percentage. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, obviously it's like, how many times do you sell
at-bats?
Yeah, at-bats, right. How many times do you sell a service contract? So if you have a 20% penetration percentage, you sold 2 out of 10. Great job. This is what's really interesting. The average penetration percentage for an independent dealer is 28%. Okay, that's horrible. The average penetration percentage for a franchise dealer is 55%. What I'm about to tell you changes and actually adds, okay, almost literally it adds 12% to independents, okay? And it's absolutely crazy. 17% for franchises. This is the
okay, you got me hooked. The suspense is there, Mike. I'm so
this is so easy, okay? Front load something, okay?
Yes, right?
Front load something. Now,
make it a complete solution.
Yes. When there's so many little aspects to it, but like the main reason that people don't sell a service contract, especially in the independent world, they don't ask. It's crazy.
It's simplistic.
I'm like,
right? A little crazy.
Look,
I'm with you. I was I owned a Mitsubishi dealership, which we all know is a used car dealership, the flag out front.
And I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
I actually love it.
One of my favorite dealers is a Mitsubishi dealer. So yeah.
And you know, it's so funny, like in the franchise world, you know, your gross profit margins are very, very fixed, you know? And I was like, that's not how much I want to make. And I was like, well, I got to figure out something else. You know, so I got really heavily involved into accessories. And at one point, almost 1 out of every 3 vehicles we were selling was going out with over $2,000 worth of accessories. And I started looking at what else needs to go in there. What else comes in as a complete solution or ownership solution, you know, for them. And the funny thing is, once we started presenting, you know, a complete ownership payment, everything changed, you know. And here was the byproduct of it. We actually had happier customers, because they weren't, being sold this car and then hold on a second, I'm going to sell you some accessories. But wait, before I'm done with that, I'm also going to sell you this gap and everything. But just before that, let me sell you a service. It's just like, it's like these stop, starts. And to your point, like you do it from the beginning.
Yep. Front load something. I would say, always, like, we're in the freaking era of over promising and under delivering and switch that around, under promise, over deliver. And so what I mean by that is like, if you're going and you're desking, you're doing a Foursquare, whatever, with your deal out there, don't give them the lowest payment to start out. Give the payment with a little bit of room. You don't know exactly what the bank's going to say yet. You don't know anything. But if they come back and I think I can get them done at a $400 payment, I'm telling the customer it's probably going to be in between $415 and $425. I'll try and get better. But give yourself a little bit of room, Yes. And so front load something within it.
Front load something. Don't assume anything. Assumptions kill profitability.
Yes. And the other part is when you front load something, okay, say it's a product, say it's, snake oil, etch, which we sell. So say it's, we call it vehicle theft registration. Okay. Say it's etch, whatever. If that's involved in every single payment that you pitch, okay, that forces the finance manager or it forces the desk manager or salesman, whatever it may be, to actually get in and enter a contract. What happens when you enter a contract?
Oh, I like that. You can get into the process of it. Yeah.
You now have in front of you the service contract cost on everything.
Yeah.
Okay. You now have it. I just struggle a lot of times when people don't realize they didn't get what they needed right there because they didn't offer the customer what they needed.
Yes.
So like
they're trying to stack, and the opposite is they're trying to stack. So they're literally fighting an uphill battle at that point.
So you'll have a salesman out there that's maybe like a Swiss Army knife, and this Renaissance man is doing everything he can to get his minor front end flat profit, and he's proud because he sold a car for the day. But at the end of the day, okay, you made $300 on the front end gross of the car, and because you've already overcame 6 objections out there on the lot, you are just tired and don't have time to do another one. And so you don't even want to offer a service contract. You don't want to offer anything.
I don't want to go through the entire sales process all over again. I just finished the first one.
This guy's told me 4 times he's set at $400 a month.
Yeah, it took me 2.5 hours just to get to this point.
What you don't understand, though, is he's set at $400 a month for the car. Okay? What is he set at after the car? Because is he set at the $4,000 repair bill, or should we just transfer that risk to someone else? And now your payment instead of $400 is $423. Yes. Would you like that? Because in 3 years, you don't know what the car is going to break. Otherwise than that, here's your car as is, buyer's guide, sign that. If it breaks in half, you own both pieces. I don't like that. Yeah. So these guys don't. It's interesting that people don't ask. They don't offer.
I like that language. I like finding. So, by the way, I pick up on little things. I love language, by the way. And
you can tell I've been a car dealer for a while. By the way, we all have our lingo.
But no. I'd actually the term risk. I don't think I've used it enough, and I think that's actually a really because it's literally what it is. Mm-hmm. It's like, do you want to take on the risk, or would you rather have us take on the risk? Mm-hmm. And if you'd rather have us take on the risk, then this is what's the cost associated with us taking on that risk. What a really very transparent black and white way of just laying it out there for someone. Right. I mean, because that's when you break it all down to the very fundamental core of it, it's a risk transfer. That's all it is.
That's all it is. I mean, like, do you have an iPhone or just
yes, I have an iPhone.
Do you have Apple Care?
No.
So you're the one. Basically,
but I have spent $1,000 to replace it, so I have done it. Yes,
yeah. And you took on that risk, right?
I knew I took on that risk when I left the store.
When you look back, you're like,
I dropped it in the lake. Yes.
Apple Care Plus cost $199, and so it would have saved you. They would have taken on that risk instead of you, right?
Yes.
And it's crazy how much profit they make off of Apple Care, by the way. But at the same time,
but that's how it wasn't presented to me that way. It was presented as this warranty, not as a transfer of risk. How very different the mindset, like I said, the language, that's a very different thing.
It is, and that's what it is, and people don't quite grasp that, where it's, I mean, for any finance managers out there, it's just get that down, just get that phrase down. Do you want this risk, or do you want to transfer it off to this other company? because you may not have $4,000, 36 months from now when something happens, something breaks. And by the way, there's about 6 computers on this car. When one of those things goes out, it may be $6,000. I'm sorry to tell you, do you want that risk? Or for $24 a month, do you want to transfer that off to someone else? Yes. And so narrow it down to the stupid. Like at my company, we'll always, I don't like necessarily pitching something, especially if they're financing the car. I don't like always, I want you to separate that process a little bit. So like, okay, your payment now is $424 instead of the $400. That means $24 a month is what you're paying to make sure that you don't have to pay out $6,000 in 38 months from now. That means also, by the way, that less cup of Starbucks that you can get to, because what you're paying right now is 82 cents a day. And we all put money.
Oh, here it goes, guys. Here goes. Here comes the car sales. Everyone knows it. They can hear it coming.
I understand, but like
I'm messing with you.
But narrow it. I mean, sales is simply like relating and explaining. You're relating and explaining.
It's turning it into a conversation, which is that's exactly what you do. You're turning it into a conversation.
Well, and there is a lot of times where,
because the pitch in a conversation is very different. Yeah. Right. A pitch is literally taking a brochure and just regurgitating whatever the heck is on it. A conversation is polar opposite of that. It's the willingness for you to take on the risk or have someone else do it for you.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that too much information leads to indecision. So when you give a customer every single line item on the terms and conditions and all of these things that are covered on it, what did you just do? If you give him 18 decisions, or 18 things, options to choose from, what did you just do? Like my favorite example is, okay, one of the biggest fast food restaurants out there is In-N-Out Burger. A lot of us have it. How many things are on their menu?
There's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, there literally is, like, at the highlight, it's hamburger, cheeseburger, double cheeseburger. Which one do you want? And so you have 3 things on the menu. And they call it In-N-Out because even though the line wraps around the building half the time,
it's never really In-N-Out. Yeah.
I mean, I know in Utah that we have like 3 of them, so it does. It could be midnight and it wraps around the building. But either way, I'm only there for 5 minutes. Part of that is because people can make a decision. They can make a decision so fast because there's 3 things on the menu. Do not give the customer a farm when all you're trying to sell them is a cow. So I mean, like, just
simplify it, right? You guys hear that? Everybody out there watching and listening, just let's simplify it. Look, Mike, I know we're getting towards the tail end of our conversation, and I know I can easily do this for another hour with you, because I just love your passion, man. Like, this is just like this has been a really, really fun conversation, and I'm confident a lot of people out there watching and listening right now would love to probably pick up bits and pieces of this conversation and continue with that with you. So here's my question up. What is the best way for someone to connect with you and maybe continue some parts of this conversation?
You know what? This sounds weird, but I'm going to actually give you my cell phone number.
Do it.
Because this is my direct cell phone number. You text me. So it's like non-confrontational, and we're in 2024 now. So everyone likes to text, especially everyone's customers. It's 801-712-8280. This is not a fake cell phone number. This is my cell phone number. Okay. So 801-712-8280. Send me a text. If I can pick up the phone, call you if you have questions, I will do it immediately. If I'm in a meeting or something, I will too. I love it. And as you can see, like, I have a passion for this. If it's 9 o'clock at night, I'm going to text you back going, I can't talk right now, but can I call you at 9 o'clock at night? And I will. Okay. So this is my direct cell phone number. That's the direct thing, you guys. Like, just text me. Just call me. 801-712-8280.
You guys heard it right there. Hey, for everybody out there watching, listening right now, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching this episode. You need to hit Micah up. He's very, very approachable, and I know he's going to reply right back to you. Micah, thank you.
Thanks, man.
So much. This is fun. This is fun. Really fun. Yeah. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.